Well, hey, real estate fans, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Alice Leam. I'm a broker in Southern Oregon here with John L. Scott Real Estate. And this week, we're going to talk about a very interesting phenomena that I just discovered when I was looking into something else. And it's about prices over time, over decades. So it's really quite shocking what's happened with the prices over the decades. And I really want to point this out because there's a lot of opinions out there right now. The data is kind of mixed. So people can, make decisions based on any amount of information. But I want to show you three different charts, and I want to give a warning to buyers, and I want to give a little bit of advice to sellers. But you have to stay to the end, but it won't be long. So first of all, let's look at this chart that goes from 1963 to 2024. 1963, 2024. It was put together by HUD and Freddie Mac. So this is very interesting that you see here that until the 1980s, pretty much, home prices were, on the average in the United States, under $100,000. But look at 2024, it's over $500,000. That's shocking. That's absolutely shocking. And in house time, that's not a lot of decades. That really is fairly quick. So when I saw this, I wanted to do the podcast because I wanted to bring it to people's attention. And it's not just this chart. I've got two others to back up my recommendations. So, but that really is a huge increase in a fairly short period of time. So how did we get there? It wasn't just COVID. COVID, we all made money during COVID. Those of us who owned property. But let's see how we got here. So here's Zillow's 2022 predictions, and it's from first quarter 2022. And even their most optimistic line, that's this little green finger, their most optimistic prediction was under what actually happened. So that gives us pause as well. It's like, wow, they didn't even know it was going to be that high. The most optimistic person was wrong. So yeah, and then it's kind of interesting. They have this blue line, which is the pre-bubble trend. This is the trajectory that housing prices would have been on if there was no bubble and no collapse, all that feast and famine stuff that housing goes through, at least these days. So, but I thought it was interesting they added that in. I don't remember that from 2022. But in 2022 we're shut down and we had other things to keep our attention. But this is really interesting because the pessimistic people, they predicted in the 300s, and if you combine all of the people, that's what this little golden finger is. They went up to 400 and nobody was up over 500. So wow. Okay, so where do we go from here is the next question. So here's a chart that forecasts home prices up into 2027. So this is 2024, almost the end of 2024. This is going to 2027. And this is very interesting. So this is going by percentage of increase. And the most pessimistic is predicting 7% between, well, it started at 2022. This was done in fourth quarter 2022. So between fourth quarter 2022 and 2027, the worst case scenario predicted was 7%. The best case scenario is 43.5. So 43.5% increase. That's basically 50% from COVID, from shutdown, 5 years out. So I'm going to pose a question. So what if these predictors are falling short of what's actually going to happen in 3 years? So it's 3 years now to 2027. So in the next 3 years, even in the worst case scenario, will national home prices outpace even our predictors' wildest dreams? So that's what leads me to my warning for buyers. I have plenty of buyers that are dragging their feet. They think they're going to get a better deal down the road. And I can't say what event is going to happen. I'm not Nostradamus, but I do love making my predictions, and I can just look at this data and say, you know what, people, if you're in Southern Oregon and you want to own a house and it's comfortable financially for you and a lender agrees, then you should get an address under your belt or two, because Southern Oregon appreciation is pretty good. Sometimes we outpace the national average. We're not right now because we're in the end of our own correction, according to Alice. But I can show you data. But here we are in August, and we're just kind of at the bottom of our bottom. But this is our correction, in my opinion. So buy something now. And if you already own something, buy a rental. If you don't want to be a landlord, then maybe hire a property manager. What does this mean to you? Because this is a pickle. So if you're selling, you want top dollar. I know that because I talk to a lot of you every day, and I am one myself off and on. So there are advantages to testing the prices on the market, especially when there's volatility. How do you know for sure? And if you're in the estate or probate or conservatorship category, you absolutely 100% want to start a little high, because you're going to have to explain your actions. Okay. So, but if you're just a regular person and you're selling your house, let's not start too high. We have our price reductions this season, this summer, we've got 30 to 50% of listings reducing their prices. So that's way too much. I'm thinking we should be maybe like 10 to 20% off, but not 30 to 50% off. So that's sellers just completely overshooting the market. Now the market is unpredictable. We're in a digital market now, and we're not used to it. So things can change fast. We're watching the stock market go up and down and wondering why that's happening so fast. Well, the housing market does not move that quickly, but it does move more quickly than it did, and we're not used to it. So sellers, ask yourself, how important is the most amount of money? If it's really, really important to get the most amount of money, and it's not just a piece of the puzzle, because for a lot of us, the money is a piece of the puzzle. The other pieces of the puzzle are we want to get somewhere else, or we want to be in a different financial situation, and the money is just part of the puzzle. But if you can honestly say to yourself and or your family that the money is the most important thing, then you need to wait. This is not the ideal time to be selling, because the prices are a little soft. Now we still have lots of equity, lots and lots of equity, way more than we used to. And that's because of COVID. But if you want to wait for another cycle, and I'm going to define another cycle as you're going to look around, you're going to be in the middle of some buying or selling season, and everybody around you is getting a predictable price. So that market stabilizes, and it stabilizes higher. That's not right now. maybe we're on our way to that, but we have an election coming up. We have all kinds of economic stuff. We have all kinds of world events. Like you can't even make this stuff up. So, and it all affects the housing market. So if you want to wait for a calmer, more peaceful time, then that would be good time to lock in predictable gains. So, but you're shortchanging your life when you do that because you're postponing your next life, whatever, whatever you're going to do with the money. So, and that's a high price to pay for some of us. So keep that in mind. And I'm a good one to run these ideas by, and I will not sugarcoat anything. Those of you who know me, I'm pretty blunt, but I'll do what you say. But I'm going to give you my 2 cents. So give me a call, give me a text. My number is 541-301-7980. It's 541-301-7980. And let's make some decisions about your real estate life. But do study these 3 charts because they're eye openers. It really was surprising, and I do this every day, and I feel like I'm up on the data, and this caught me by surprise. So let me know if you've got any questions. Otherwise, have a beautiful Southern Oregon weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.